Welcome to today, Politic with New Shine. I'm excited for today's episode with our two guests that we have, Jessica and Pilar. I actually looked at you guys crisscross, my fault. Pilar, Jessica, it's going to be a great episode as we're going to talk about so many different things. But before we get into that,
I'ma get it on my time. Politicking on my time. I'ma get it on my time. I'm politicking on my time, babe.
why don't you introduce yourselves to the people? Just talk to them. Tell them what you do, your profile, all that good stuff.
Ooh, my profile.
Go ahead.
All right. My name is Jessica Pierre. I am an entrepreneur in Boston. I founded an organization called Queen's Company where we work to empower women of color in the greater Boston area. And I am also the CEO and principal publicist for my consulting firm, Pierre Communications, where I do PR for political figures and social impact brands. And I'm also really cool and really excited to be here.
Give her a round of applause. We hear that shit? That's good stuff right there. Good stuff. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey everyone, I'm Pilar Tucker. I am the founder and CEO of Empower Our Crown, which is an organization that I've actually founded last year. We just celebrated our 1 year.
Okay.
So I'm excited about that. I am a clinical psychology doctoral student, so I'm going to be a psychologist. Really excited about that too, and I'm super excited to be here with my friends.
Give her a round of applause.
Yeah, there we
Clap
go,
it up,
there we
Jess.
go.
There we go. There we go.
There we go. There we go.
It's exciting. Well, our next segment, as you guys know, is the Did You Know section.
Did you know? But before we get into that, Kurt,
I was
man,
excited.
Tell people about this diet you've been on, bro. Like you got yourself carrying around this water everywhere,
bro.
man. What's up with that?
So for the last 3 days, I've been cranky as hell. I've been really cranky. I had no salt, no sugar. Only thing I've been eating is 6 ounces of salmon every 2.5 hours mixed with vegetables.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you. So I got very intense. So I got my jug of water here. I don't remember the name of this little workout thing. I don't know what the hell it is, but it's driving me crazy. I'm going through withdrawals. I'm sweating all the time. I'm getting cranky. I'm mad, upset, all that things. But health is wealth. That's what y'all Americans say.
So wait,
health
so
is
your
wealth.
body is getting cranky because you're just not used to doing healthy stuff? Is that what it is?
Call me out. Go ahead. Call me out.
Did you know? No. Did you know? Did you know? Did you know?
Love it.
So did you know that they are millennials? This is about millennials.
All about millennials today.
That millennials currently earn less than their parents.
Well, before you do that,
Yes, sir.
give the age range for millennials. A lot of people might not think they're millennials. Go ahead.
Yeah, and this is the funny thing. I was like, I'm not a millennial.
Of course you're a
I ain't
millennial.
these suckers. But, a millennial is born from 1980 to 1994. So
1980
basically,
to 1994.
1980 to 1994. I'm not going to do the math in my head, but they are currently, 26 to 40.
Yup. You're not going to
26
do
to
the
40.
math, but he did the math. You see that?
I actually got notes here, guys. There's notes. Right here. But between 26 to 40. So, yes, they currently earn less than their parents. So, you're 40 years old right now, and your parents is making more money than you.
Or they earned less in general. Yeah, inflation. That doesn't even make sense. Makes sense? Yeah.
It makes sense or don't make sense?
It makes sense because of inflation.
Okay.
If you really think about it, it really makes sense why we're earning less and we don't have really a lot of good politicians.
Well, that's the part where I enter and say that's not true. But anyway,
No, I'm saying in general. I'm not being
not really
specific.
good to generalize it.
All right. Well,
You know.
so basically what it is that they're just making 20% less than their parents did when they came to the same age. So it's like, I guess that's the whole idea of inflation. But
And the cost of living's gone up too.
Absolutely.
So it's like now you have that, and also millennials are more in debt
Yep.
than their parents.
And that's because of our student loan system. That's for sure.
Yo, what happened to Miss Warren, bro? I really was hoping that she won.
I was actually on her
Lying, not
bandwagon.
lying. I was sort of on the bandwagon.
Sort of? Nah, I was on that bandwagon.
It was like between her and Bernie. You know what I'm saying?
Our
Elizabeth.
state didn't vote for Elizabeth Warren.
Not at
That's
all.
even crazier.
We voted for
bro.
Biden.
Right.
I voted for Elizabeth Warren.
I
was
did
a
too.
Warren
I did
person.
too.
I was with her.
See? Oh, at
I was
least
with Bernie.
No, I love Bernie though. I love Bernie, but Elizabeth Warren, and she's our state senator. She's a woman, so
Yeah, I get you. She was hitting all the cues for you, right?
yeah. And she had a whole bunch of great policies, but I won't distract us. But anyways, you guys know I can get my political bag. So
I did like her. I did like her.
You did like her? Did you vote for her?
Elizabeth, yeah.
You did?
Yeah, I was all about Elizabeth. I'm not a big fan of. I kind of fell off about Bernie. I'm not a fan of with Joe Biden. That's for some videos I saw of him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sort of like in the middle, like trying to figure out what I'm going to do come election day. But
What you mean?
I was gonna say, I'm
What
like,
you
y'all
mean?
really trying to get me in my bag.
Hold on. Can you zoom in on him, please? Zoom in on him.
I gotta figure it out.
What is there to
What is
figure
there?
out?
Figure it out. Talk to the people. Go ahead.
Yo, so the last election, I actually voted the Green Party. I voted for Jill Stein. I was one of those. I'm Haitian. I couldn't vote for Hillary. I just couldn't do it. Like, I couldn't do it. Like, for
Because of,
what's going on in Haiti,
Haiti?
bro? Like,
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. I'm good.
I can respect that.
I was like, bro, you know what? I'm not voting for the lesser of the two evils. So I'll go
Okay.
all the way left. I went right.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I did.
Okay. I was about to argue with you until you brought up Haiti.
Well, I mean, America. It's couldn't have a role in Haiti, but America has a very destructive role in Haiti as well. So,
That's
like,
true.
throw the whole country away.
That's true.
True, but the Hillary Foundation,
Yes,
the
yes.
foundation specifically, they done some unique
I was
things.
mad
in
as hell
Haiti.
voting for Hillary. I almost didn't vote. I almost was like, she's gonna win anyways. I don't have to. But I was like, oh, let me go participate and do my
Exactly.
civic duty.
It's crazy.
I was
was
pissed,
crazy.
but you know what I'm gonna do? What you have to do.
Yeah, I agree.
So
What-
what is it? I think this is the last one I got for you.
Go ahead.
So millennials, I guess we are smart because we're like, yo,
You guess we're smart?
I guess we're
Come on.
smart. 'Cause now-
Where's the
now I know
confidence
I'm
at?
millennial. So I'm smart. So we ain't making money.
Mm-hmm.
We're in debt.
Wow.
So we like, children?
Children where?
Yo,
No, it's so
fuck that.
no.
Fuck that.
No, it's so funny. Everyone on set's laughing, but the guy with the kid. Everybody on set laughing, but the guy with the kid. Yeah. Buy that shit. We partner. Translation. They're
Yeah.
expensive as hell.
Expensive.
What up? What up, Elijah? What up?
But you
heard
get to
that.
claim them
There
on your
was, like-
taxes. I ain't got no dependents, and I need some. So
Unless you have BM issues.
Oh, she said she had no
I
dependents.
have no dependents, and I need some.
You need some. Your mom is asking for it.
No, I need some dependents for my
Oh,
taxes.
Oh, for your taxes.
For my taxes, yes.
Oh, I get you. You see, that's the only advantage at the moment. You know what I'm saying?
No, the love, the care, being a father.
Watching
You know, you're
them
It
grow.
right. You're
changed my
right.
life.
I want kids.
Huh? You
I
want
want
kids?
kids. I want
See?
kids.
You want a couple?
I want a couple.
I do too.
You want
You
a
do
couple?
too?
I do.
I want 5.
I want 3.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's too many.
I want 5 kids.
But hold up,
Way
like
too many.
Pilar is over here. Actually, Pilar.
Pilar.
Pilar. Pilar. Pilar.
No,
Is over here about to get her
Pilar.
doctrine. She's about to get her
Yeah.
doctorate.
That's
Oh,
that's
You know what I'm
amazing.
saying?
That's beautiful.
In psychology. So she's like, I'm already prepped for this.
Yep.
The money's coming.
That's a smart move.
You know what I'm saying? So we don't even want to hear her opinion.
Oh,
We
got it.
We don't want to hear it. Over here, nah.
My voice matters.
Yes, it does. There we go.
Good stuff, though. Good stuff. And I know we're talking about millennials today. We're talking about millennials, and I thought you guys would be the perfect guest to talk about millennials, not only based off your background, whether it's policy, politics, and what you do as an entrepreneur, and also what you do with Queen's Code, which I love. We talk all the time, psychology work, what you're doing with your entrepreneurship. Congrats on the 1-year anniversary. I think there's a lot of unique things that millennials are right now facing. And my claim, my general opinion, I actually read it on the Washington Post where it said, millennials are the unluckiest generation in the U.S. history. And I think it's for multiple different reasons, but I think it would be great to have this conversations, politic it up, to really talk about it. One of the biggest reasons, I didn't even put it on there, we didn't talk about the notes, which I'm usually not the biggest fan of, is our school systems. Specifically for Black and brown folks.
Yep.
Right? I don't know, what is your background? Are you both, well, you're in college. Did you graduate school?
Yeah, I went to UMass Amherst.
UMass Amherst. So what was y'all experience like, especially with a lot of us dealing with student loan debt?
Yeah.
How do you guys usually deal with those set of obstacles, especially trying to be a professional, also running a business?
Yeah, well, I did not like school. And when I say I didn't like school, not necessarily the experience. I had a great experience, a college experience, but like being in class, it wasn't for me. That's why I just got my undergrad degree, and I'm like, I'm never coming back. So I felt like my college experience was more valuable for the student activities that I was involved in, the people that I met, the connections that I made. But as far as like my degree, like I literally haven't even hung it up because I'm just like, this is cool, thanks. Like it was more so because I felt like I had to go to college to be successful. So whenever I talk to young kids, I'm always like, what do you want to do? Like, you don't feel pressure to go to college specifically because of the student loan debt. So I was lucky enough to go to a state school. So I had a lot of great scholarships because I live in a single parent household, and I grew up in a low income household, so I got a lot of great financial aid, a lot of great scholarships.
Yep.
So I'm not in a lot of debt. So I actually have like a positive net worth, which a lot of millennials can't say that they have.
Cannot say that.
So a lot of that stuff did not apply to me, fortunately. But I think it's interesting when we talk about millennials as a whole because, like you said, I do think we have to differentiate like Black and brown millennials because
Thank
our
you.
experiences are completely different. Like I'm
Completely.
making more money than my dad, but only because he was an immigrant that came here from Haiti, and
Haiti.
he works as a cab driver. So me as like an entrepreneur, like I'm making way more money than him. But people who had like parents that grew up here and had access to different resources that we don't have access to now, they're definitely not making way more money than their parents. So
Makes a lot of sense. What
Yeah.
about you, P?
On the other side of things, so I'm a lifelong learner. I love school. Like, I really do, and that's why I'm in a doctorate right now. So for me, going to school was the standard. I didn't think that I wouldn't be in school, and I loved it so much, and I knew early on that I loved psychology.
Yeah.
So for me, taking on that debt was investing in my bag. Like, you have to invest. Entrepreneurs invest all the time. We take risk. We do that stuff. So my risk was taking on this debt because I know I'm going to get a return on my investment. So just going through school, and I didn't know, like in undergrad, I got some scholarships, and then I went to go get my master's where I didn't get scholarships. And BU School of Medicine was very expensive. So that put me in a lot of debt, and I was really struggling when I graduated to, how am I going to pay this debt off?
Yeah.
You know, like being a therapist isn't enough, and I knew I wanted to get my doctorate, but I needed to be in the field for a while to develop those skills. Because a lot of millennials, they may go through school and have this textbook knowledge and no real life experience.
Yep.
So for me, I was like, before I go to school again, I need to make sure that I'm in the streets, like really understanding what it means to be a clinician.
Yep.
So now that I understand the system more about how to even get scholarships, how to mitigate some of those, the debt to income ratio, I have gotten scholarships.
Yeah.
So like my doctorate, and I hope y'all just pray for me on this one, but I'm waiting for a full scholarship right now. So
you
I
got
won't be in much debt. And when I graduate, being a psychologist, debt's not going to exist for me. So, amen.
Bars.
That's where we drop the bombs. That's where we drop it right there. That shit's crazy because I think one of the reasons why this generation's the most unluckiest is because we've been told to be successful,
Right.
you have to go to school.
Yeah.
You have to
Yep.
get a degree.
Yep.
And we were never told that schools, well, colleges
Yeah.
specifically, are business.
Yes.
And it wasn't always like that. Like
Correct.
before
Yep.
we started going to school, it was like state schools used to be very cheap. You didn't have to pay for
Right.
anything.
Like $10,000 or something like
You know, with the economy and everything that's been happening in the last few
Yeah.
decades or so, like school has become a very lucrative business.
It's sad because what's tough for me, I try to go to
Yeah.
school. Like I tried to do that route. And I
Yeah.
know a lot of my friends had the same story as me. We were going to school, we were doing what we were told to do. And then midway through, for me, it was when I was a senior /
Yeah.
junior, I was forced to drop out
Yeah.
because I couldn't get a cosigner on my loan.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
that's when I start learning about
Right.
my first lesson on financial literacy when they said, Kurt, you have to leave school. And then I'm still dealing with this issue to this day. I hate LaSalle. Let me look at the camera. No, seriously, this is all facts, right? I hate LaSalle College, right? The reason why is because they had a tuition like they were Harvard University. They were a private school. A lot of people weren't taught the
Yeah.
difference between public and private, like you're
Yep.
saying, going to the state versus the private school. And what was crazy, when I left LaSalle College, I was a junior senior. I transferred my credits and I was considered a freshman.
Oh, no.
And I was like, fuck that.
Oh,
And then next
hell
thing you know,
no.
I had literally over $90,000
no.
worth of student
Yeah.
loan. It gets so bad. This is a real life story. I got sued by an own family member because their wages got garnished and I had no clue about it because I had private loans and public loans. Like, yeah, I was like, I have family beef because of this.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really that
What?
serious. I didn't even know about it. It was nuts. It was nuts. Me and that family
That's
member patched it up
horrible.
though.
I'm happy to hear
Yeah.
that.
No,
That's great.
Seriously.
it was crazy. And I know, once again, it's not only myself that have
Yeah.
done this route, but a lot of us
Yeah.
feel like we are forced
Yep.
to go into side hustles or the entrepreneurship, or even I know some people doing stuff illegally because
Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah.
I'm not able to make the income. You told me that I need a college degree to have this
Right.
level of job,
Yep.
and I cannot afford it.
No.
I did not pick my parents,
Right.
and they have bad credit.
Yep. Yep.
My parents as well don't have the best credit. You feel what I'm saying? So it's so disheartening. It's so disheartening. So with your work, dealing with whether it's professionals, kids, I know you guys do it all. Do you tell them it's mandatory to go to school? Do you-
Absolutely not. Nope.
Even me with going to be a doctor, I say you have to find your why. Find your
Find
why.
your
What's,
purpose.
what's at your core is what you're going to do and do it well because the money's going to come. You know, if you are really invested in your dream and your hustle, whatever that looks like for you, then you'll live a fruitful life.
Yeah.
I love school. So like
That's-
for me, it makes sense. But I know a lot of my friends who are like, P, we not going to school.
Yeah.
That's great. You love to learn, read books, but it's not for us. And that's okay.
And the crazy thing about school is that they'll be like, okay, so like you just graduated, you need 5 years of experience. So for me, I tell kids like, all right, so you want to work in real estate? So let's talk about you interning at a real estate
Internship.
office.
Right.
Let's talk about you when you graduate high school, starting to study to take the real estate exam and get your license. So that's what I talk about. I don't necessarily I talk more about internships because internships were super valuable
Yeah.
for me.
I love it.
But
Okay.
college, it was a dub.
Another thing about it, which is interesting, right? Because you talk about internships, which I think is which is huge because it's like real life experience. The our traditional educational system is failing the way we're learning anyway.
Yep.
Because it's not enough kinesthetic learning.
Yep.
It's not that hands-on experience. The books are not teaching our history. The books are
Right,
not like. Let me not
It's actually
get.
toxic, but anyway.
No, it's not anyway. It's very toxic, right?
true.
I was shocked when I found out the real history of Christopher Columbus.
Yeah.
Right? I was shocked, like, whoa, this, right? Or how come Juneteenth wasn't taught to us in the early,
Right.
especially up north? I know
Yep.
down south is a little different,
Yep.
but it wasn't really implemented in a lot of different
Right.
school systems.
Right.
I don't know. It's wild. It's
It is
wild.
wild.
It's wild. And another thing, which I also believe why this generation, unfortunately, is the unluckiest, has to do with our mental health issues.
Yep.
We have access to the most information ever.
Right.
But yet we're dealing with the most amount of mental health issues. Why do you think that is?
I'll let Pilar go first.
Yeah, I just think that because we have so much access and we weren't taught those foundational pieces of your well-being, that the
Facts.
access becomes overwhelming for people and they don't know how to manage it.
Information
They don't know how
overload.
to digest it because you have it at your disposal, at your every hand, foot, eyesight. And
Talk.
millennials, what happens is we want this instant gratification. We need it right now. We need it. We need it in this moment, in this very second. And when we don't get it, our emotional well-being is depleted. We are triggered because we expect to have the access, but then we're denied access with certain things. So what happens is that we weren't taught, oh, be well. You know, we're taught go to school, go to work, but we're not taught heal. You know, so
Yeah.
we're trying to access all these other things, but we're not accessing our healing.
Yeah.
And we crash. Millennials crash.
Yep. I love that. Go ahead, Jess. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I also want to highlight the fact that because we have access to so much more information, and because the stigma is dying out, because I know that mental health issues have existed in my family for generations, and so we've all like absorbed that generational trauma. So of course, now when that stigma is a little bit gone, when we can actually talk about it and be vocal about, like, you know, I have anxiety, I have depression. So it seems like we might be facing more mental health issues than generations before us, but I don't know if that's necessarily true. Because people didn't feel comfortable speaking up about it. People didn't have access to therapists. Like, you know, people didn't have therapists of color or black women therapists. So now the game has changed, and I think it's a good thing.
I love what you said right there. You're talking about awareness a lot. Man, I'm Haitian. I know you're Haitian. I lived in Haiti for 1 year. I got kicked out. You know.
Wow.
You know how it goes. Four different high schools. You know how it goes, baby.
Nah, you're gonna need to give more detail on that.
Story time.
I went to 4 different high schools, 4 years. One of the schools was in Haiti, right? But in Haiti, they don't look at mental health, right? They don't talk about the idea that you might be going crazy or whatever the case is. They don't have therapists out there, and it's not just Haiti in general. It's a lot of Caribbean islands. So being a first gen, like a lot of us are, being a first gen, coming to America, I do think we have a different set of issues, which talked about another episode. But we do have a different set of issues in mental health, and it's just like we have been dealing with generational trauma, generational mental health issues, especially if you're black and brown in this country. My, oh my. So it's definitely crazy. And it actually goes into the next point, because I think education's huge. I think education's messing us up. I think we have to completely dissect it, wash it out.
Throw it away and start fresh.
Yes.
I believe that.
Agreed.
From the books, the teachers, the way they are teaching specifically. Hell yeah. I'm totally with that. But the other thing is media. How we are portrayed in media.
Yes.
Who owns the media? Let me start there. Ownership of the media. Who runs the media? The news that we're getting, how it's entertainment value. I was talking yesterday to Jeff. There's a book called Trust Me, I'm Lying, True Confessions of a Media Manipulator by Ryan Holiday.
Wow.
One of the best books I read in terms of like enlightening me what's going on. And
I have a book by Ryan Holiday too, but I didn't know he wrote that one, so I'm gonna go check that out.
Was the self-help book Stoicism or something like that?
No, it's called Perennial Seller. It's about like building products that are long lasting and you can make a lot of money. But anyways, carry on.
but in the book, what I got out of it was that I forgot that news. They're a business as well. They're in the business to make money, to sell commercial spots. So obviously there's a lot of shock value that's triggering us when they are portraying certain individuals who may look like us. Right? Fox News, CNN, even the way they discuss, the talking heads where they're just arguing all the time, it's crazy. But I know that's kind of your lane. What do you think about how the media is doing us right now, specifically millennials?
Honestly, sometimes I get really frustrated with my career because I just see, it's about money, but it's also about control and like propaganda, and the media controls so much of the narrative. And that's why I really try to inspire people to be critical thinkers and really do their own research, because I don't watch the news. I work in PR and I do not watch the news. I don't do it because it's a scare tactic. Why do we see black people dying in the street, but we ain't never see white people dying in the street? They're normalizing that in our psyche, and that's very, very damaging. So we have to be very, very careful on what we consume. And like, I'll bring up really quickly, I don't know if you guys know about the thing that happened with Nick Cannon this week, and like what he was talking about on his podcast, and how it was considered anti-Semitism, but like he was very unapologetic about what he said. And let me just say, like, I haven't done enough research to say that I actually agree with what he said, so I don't want nobody to say that I am anti-Semitic, because I am not. But just talking about how he got fired like that. But who controls the media? All these white faces control the media. And that's why it's really important for us to have representation in the media, to have our own media platforms.
Ownership.
It's crucial. But they will try to do anything to block a black man or a black woman from having their own major media platform. But we need that. To advance the movement, to get rid of systemic racism, we need to have our own media platforms.
I'm glad you brought that up, Jessica, because I was looking this up, because yesterday I read an article about it, and the first thing that hit me was like, damn, Nick Cannon got fired on his day off because they dropped all his contracts. Viacom to be specific.
Dirty.
And then I said, okay, why doesn't he just take Wildin' Out and go somewhere else?
He doesn't
He
own
doesn't
it.
own it.
He doesn't
And
own it.
then I said, okay, what is he? Why doesn't he just go to another network? Come to find out, Viacom owns Comedy Central, MTV, BET,
VH1 too.
and VH1's on there. And it says CBS has a broadcast network. So Viacom owns everything and Paramount Pictures. So again, back to that ownership. It's like
Ownership.
they got it in a headlock, and it's
Yep.
like
They do.
you play by our rules or
Yes.
you get out.
Or you
Yep.
get
It's
out.
Crazy.
Yep.
No, I love the shit you said too about propaganda.
Yes.
Propaganda. I know that goes into our psyche. Go
It
ahead, Pete.
does. Oh no, I was just gonna say I love that you said that because we're doing a lot of studies in one of my racial classes this semester called cross cultural and psychology. So we're learning about the history of America essentially and how America has had this way of messaging, controlling the propaganda, controlling the representation, and what that does to our psyche.
Yep.
How that the re-exposure of black men getting killed, re-exposure of black women being, promiscuous
Yep.
and
Yep.
being subjected to
Or
sexualized
angry.
behavior, being weaponized.
Yep.
How this has been going on forever.
Yep.
Yep.
So when we constantly see it, the same thing that happens with PTSD, for those of you who don't know what that is, post-traumatic stress disorder, it's when you're exposed to something very dangerous and harmful and your body has a negative reaction. So the same thing that happens in the media with our propaganda, we're seeing this negative information
Crazy.
about us. We are traumatized from
Right.
it. And we also internalize what's going on, which then impacts how we behave.
And what's amazing, what you're saying, that also speaks to the stats, how millennials are one of the first generations that is projected to die before their parents.
Yes.
That's
Where-
crazy.
Yeah, like
Yes.
our life expectancy is not as long as our
It's
parents.
not.
That's
It's like the first
crazy.
time I've forgotten how many years,
Crazy.
how many
It's
generations
scary.
that we're
That's
actually
really
projected not to
scary.
live as long.
crazy.
It's crazy. That speaks to our health.
Yes.
It speaks to what we're eating. Everything with both of what you guys said.
Yeah.
Everything that you're saying, it speaks to why we are the
So
unlucky.
shout out to Kurt for going on his little diet, drinking his water.
For real, for
You know
real.
what I'm saying?
Unplug. Get
I appreciate
wellness
that.
is so crucial. That's why you have to unplug from social media. I know we're all
Yeah.
addicted to
Yeah.
it, but we can't be like anything
can't.
that you're addicted to. You have to be able to like take a step back from because
Multiple.
it's toxic.
It
Social
is.
media is toxic.
It's super toxic, and I think that's another reason we're the first. We're like really the first think of like the first iPhone. Remember all the kinks there was on the first
Right. Yep,
iPhones,
yep.
and then the second one, the third one. It became much better. But we are the first generation to actually experience social media.
Yeah.
They're going to do research on us 60 years later, 80 years later, like, oh, they fucked up being on the phone all the time. You see how their brain shrunk? Like we're going to
Right.
see some remember I said this. They're going to see some crazy study 60 years later, like, oh, they messed up by
Yep.
being the toxic levels of social media. Look how it impacted their behaviors, their relationships, everything. So it's crazy that you're saying that.
They're already doing research on the fucked up levels of just being an American. We're so young, we're so dumb, we're so fat,
We broke.
we're overweight.
Damn.
But then the propaganda goes that America is the best country in the world.
No, it's not.
But now they're seeing it.
America is a shithole.
Outside countries are seeing that.
COVID-19, they're like, yo, if you're
We don't
American,
want
don't
America.
come.
Don't even come, right?
They don't even wear masks.
Yo.
To go outside. They don't even
Yo.
follow the guidelines.
Right.
The whole world's laughing at us.
Everybody's like, so
We're a
many
joke.
people are dying right now. Like, everybody's
Sad.
like, what is going
Florida?
on over there?
Florida?
Yo, Florida gotta go. Let's talk about that.
Seriously. No, that's serious though.
It's so true.
Yo, what you mean by that? What you mean?
Florida needs to not be a part of the United States. Everything that's like crazy and weird and
Yes.
messed up happens in Florida.
I learned that from Charlemagne. I thought he was being funny when he first said that. But when you hear some of the craziest stories, it's literally,
You got to give me some stories. I need to hear some
I
stories.
bet you do a quick Google search in like Google News and put Florida. You're gonna see the craziest stuff come up. I guarantee it.
it's
Looking up
Yep.
Florida
Florida
man,
news.
yeah.
but it's crazy though. That
Florida man wrestles alligator.
Gets face bitten off.
Right?
It still had one eye.
Okay, got one right here the last 5 hours. Young people partying in Miami Beach despite COVID-19 threat.
it's
Like,
and the thing
use
is,
your brain.
that's selfish behavior. I mean, I
is.
won't even go down that track, but that's super selfish right there.
Woo! Supreme Court temporarily blocks felons from voting in Florida.
See, it's
See?
absurd.
And who?
Yep.
Let's not get into that, man. Like,
Representation.
like, come on. man.
Controlling.
And I think part of the other issues that millennials are dealing with is that the previous generation. What was it's not baby boomer. What was the generation before us? Don't remember off the top of my head. Anyway,
I think it is
Is baby boomers?
No, I don't think so.
I think there's a baby boomers, then there's another one, then it's millennials. But I could be wrong.
Gen X.
Gen X. Gen
Baby
There we go.
boomers. Baby
Okay, they
boomers.
are. Okay.
Okay, baby
Gen
boomers.
X is after millennials.
Okay, perfect. So we got baby boomers, right? The differences.
Oh no, I'm confused. My bad. So baby boomers were born between 1944 and 1964. Gen X was born 1965 to 1979, and millennials
Okay.
1980 to
1994.
1994. There you go.
But
Got you.
but think of Gen X and how they grew up.
Right.
Think of how society was. Think of how the culture was, the tradition, the values. It's
So wholesome.
but it's so different than the way we
Right.
look at
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? It's so different than the way we look at life. So you could see a culture clash.
Right.
Yeah.
You can absolutely see a culture clash that always goes on, whether it's on the political field where everyone was behind Bernie Sanders, for
Right.
example, or they just said, I don't want to vote, right? We would talk about that on the side. So you can see such a culture clash that we're dealing with even in this beautiful quote unquote country that we
Yeah.
call America, right?
Right.
I meant quote unquote with the beautiful. I messed up, but you guys get it. You guys get the shit. You guys get it. You guys get it. But with that being said, so with that, I know we talked about a lot of the problems. I'm not trying to scare anybody. What is the one or two solutions or advice you would give somebody who is a millennial and looking to get to the next level?
I would tell them to, one, take care of themselves, love on themselves, and don't really rely on external forces to determine what your worth and your value is, and like explore yourself, do the work, and don't be afraid to be who you actually are. Because
love
I
it.
think that the way that, we were raised with our family, really trying to mold and shape us. And, while we appreciate our family trying to do their best, but it's really important for us to find ultimate and true happiness.
I like it.
We have to be honest and true with ourselves, so don't run away from that. And the last thing is to own something and or start a business.
Talk that shit.
Yes. For me, is knowledge is power. And that doesn't mean that you have to go to school to gain this knowledge, but you do need to know about yourself. You need to know about your history, because to know your history is to know yourself. And I would also say heal. Make sure that you're healing from the inside out. A lot of us are going through life with a mask on. And because we go through life with a mask on, we are not being true to us. We're not being true to our history. We're not being true to ourselves. And we need to make sure that we're healing. We need to make sure that we're tapping into our mental health, because your mental health is your wealth. Before you can go out and make money, you need to learn how to make yourself feel good. Because when you feel good, you do good.
Exactly.
And the last one I would just say is to stay committed.
I like
Stay
it.
committed. We have to be people who are consistent. I think millennials have this instant gratification that when things go sour, they give up.
Yep.
We can't quit. We have to keep going despite the challenges, despite the barriers, and we have to continue to break glass ceilings.
I love it. I love it. And just to add on that, you guys topped it off, but I think the last part is community and collaboration.
Yes.
Community and collaboration. I would even be here if it wasn't for the community, whether it's Jeff, we're talking to P all the time, working with Jess, like literally it's community and collaboration of people who are like-minded, or honestly, they're better at you on something.
Yeah.
I look up to everybody in this room for something in here. So I love that. So that's today's episode when we're talking about millennials being the lost generation. But there is hope. There is absolute hope, whether it's ownership of your mind, body, and you talked about business. Knowledge is power. Heal yourself or get yourself in the community and collab with someone great. Love it. That's that Jadakiss laugh. You like that shit? I love it. I love Jada. I love Jada. Uncle Jada.
If you are hoping to connect with us, then check us out online at www.newshinestudios.com. Also subscribe at New Shine Studios or follow us at New Shine Studios.
I'ma get it on my time. Politicking on my time.